The echoes of lost love. Jack's world had been stripped of color and joy ever since he was sent to live with his Aunt Marie and Uncle Pierre. The house, a sagging relic of better days, stood as a monument to his misfortune. The walls, once vibrant with the laughter and warmth of his parents, now whispered tales of neglect and bitterness. Warning light filtered weakly through grimy windows, casting pale shadows over the dust-laden furniture and cluttered floors. The air was thick with the weight of unhappiness, an ever-present reminder of the life he had lost. Every day began with the same routine. Jack rose before dawn, his small frame moving with an air of resigned precision. His hands, though young and untrained, were deft in their movements, mopping and scrubbing with a fervor that belied his exhaustion. Pierre and Marie were relentless in their criticisms. Pierre, a stocky man whose harsh voice carried the authority of years spent enforcing his will, would lounge in his frayed armchair, his eyes narrowed with discontent. Marie, with her sharp tongue and relentless scrutiny, would punctuate his criticisms with her own biting remarks. "You missed a spot again, Jack. How is it possible for someone to be so inept?" Pierre's voice would rumble, cutting through the silence of the early hours. Marie's disapproval was always just as biting. "Look at this mess. I can still see streaks on the floor. It's like you don't even try." Jack, accustomed to these daily assaults, kept his gaze fixed on his work. He swallowed his hurt and frustration, letting his emotions simmer beneath the surface. His heart ached for the warmth and love he once knew, memories of his parents' tender care and their little flower shop in the heart of their small French town. Life with his aunt and uncle was a stark contrast to the vibrant world he had known. He remembered the days spent in the flower shop, surrounded by the heady scents of blooming roses and lilies. The shop was a kaleidoscope of colors, a sanctuary of happiness amidst the trials of life. His parents, Luck and Sophie, had been the heart and soul of that sanctuary. They were kind and loving, always ready with a smile and a gentle word. Every day, Jack had run through the shop's aisles, his laughter echoing amidst the blossoms. His father would often kneel beside him, lifting a delicate butterfly from a bloom and placing it gently in Jack's hand. "Every flower we plant," Luck would say, "is a piece of love that we leave in the world." Jack's eyes would shine with admiration as he repeated the words, his tiny fingers clutching the fragile creature. Those were the days when the world seemed full of promise, when love felt like an endless resource. But those days had ended abruptly when Jack's parents had passed away. The flower shop had been closed, and Jack had been sent to live with his relatives who had no room in their hearts for him. As the days turned into months, Jack's life became a monotonous cycle of drudgery and neglect. He cooked, cleaned, and toiled, but his efforts were met with disdain rather than gratitude. His only refuge was the brief moments of solitude in his small, cluttered room. It was in these fleeting escapes that he allowed himself to remember his parents. He would pull out the few cherished photographs he had managed to keep, images of happier times of his parents standing proudly in front of their shop, of the love that had once been so abundant. One dusty afternoon, while dusting an old shelf, Jack discovered a photo album wedged between two neglected books. His fingers trembled as he opened it, revealing a collection of snapshots from a past that felt almost surreal now. There were pictures of his parents laughing of the shop in full bloom, of Jack as a small child running joyfully through the flowers. He lingered over one particular photo, his parents in front of the flower shop, their faces radiant with joy. Jack whispered to the image, "Dad, Mom, I wish you were here. You always believed in me. I wish I could feel that love again." The sound of Pierre's heavy footsteps shattered the moment. "What are you doing there, wasting time?" he growled, his voice dripping with irritation. Without waiting for a response, he snatched the album from Jack's hands. "Get up and keep working. We don't have time for your sentimental nonsense." Jack jumped to his feet, his heart pounding. He swallowed the lump in his throat, fighting back tears as he returned to his chores. The harsh reality of his life felt even more oppressive now, his dreams of escaping his misery and finding happiness seeming increasingly distant. That night, as Jack lay on his narrow bed, the weight of loneliness pressed heavily on him. The thin walls of his room did little to muffle the sounds of laughter and conversation from the kitchen, a constant reminder of his exclusion from the family. He stared at the dark ceiling, his mind racing with thoughts of a future that seemed forever out of reach. He wondered if he would ever find a way out of this life, if there was a place where he could be truly happy again. The next afternoon, as Jack went about his chores in the gloomy, cluttered house, a knock at the door startled him. It was an unusual interruption in the monotonous routine, and Jack's curiosity was piqued. He opened the door to find a middle-aged man standing on the doorstep. The man had an imposing presence but an air of kindness about him. His eyes, though tinged with sadness, held a determination that immediately drew Jack's attention. "Are you Jack?" the man asked, his voice gentle yet firm. Jack nodded, a mixture of curiosity and hope stirring within him. "Yes, I am. I'm Christoph," the man introduced himself, his gaze shifting briefly to the interior of the house. "I was a close friend of your parents. I need to speak with you about something important." Pierre, who had been lounging in his armchair, rose with difficulty, his expression darkening. "Who is this man? What does he want?" Christophe's demeanor remained calm. "My name is Christophe. I knew Luck and Sophie many years ago. I've come to deliver a message to Jack as entrusted to me by your late parents." Pierre's eyes narrowed, suspicion evident in his gaze. "I don't like surprises. What's this about?" Christophe met his gaze evenly. "I'm not here to cause trouble, but to fulfill a duty. Luck and Sophie left a letter for Jack to be delivered on his 18th birthday." Marie joined the scene, her expression shifting from curiosity to skepticism. "I hope this isn't some kind of trick," she said sharply. Christophe shook his head. "It's nothing of the sort. I have the letter right here." He produced an envelope from his coat pocket, its edges worn but intact. Jack's heart skipped a beat at the sight of the envelope. His hands trembled as he reached out for it, his eyes meeting Christophe's with a mixture of hope and trepidation. "This is for my parents?" Christophe nodded, his eyes softening with compassion. "Yes. They asked me to give it to you when you turned 18. Inside is something you need to know." As Jack took the letter, he felt a wave of emotions crash over him, anticipation, anxiety, and a glimmer of hope. He carefully opened the envelope, his fingers brushing against the smooth paper. The familiar handwriting of his parents greeted him, and a lump formed in his throat. "Dear Jack," the letter began, "if you are reading this, it means you have reached an important milestone in your life. There are things we want you to know." Jack's eyes scanned the words, his heart pounding as he read the message. The letter was filled with love and encouragement, and as he continued reading, he felt a deep sense of connection to his parents, as if their love was reaching out to him through the ink on the page. The letter revealed secrets and promises, and as Jack absorbed its contents, he realized that his parents had left him more than just memories. They had left him a path to find his way back to the love and happiness he had once known. To be continued. The next part will delve deeper into the revelations of the letter and the impact they have on Jack's journey. The unveiling of secrets. Jack's heart raced as he carefully unfolded the letter, each word a potential key to unlocking his future. The familiar handwriting of his parents seemed to breathe life into the worn paper, and as he began to read, he could almost hear their voices whispering to him. "Dear Jack, if you are reading this, it means you have reached the age of 18, a milestone we knew would come far too soon. We wish we could be there to celebrate with you, but even in our absence, we hope this letter will offer you guidance and comfort. There are many things we wish we could have told you in person, but time was not on our side. We want you to know how deeply we love you and how proud we were of the person you are becoming. Your strength and resilience have always been an inspiration to us, and we hope that you continue to hold onto those qualities as you navigate the challenges ahead. There is something important we need you to know about our past, something that might explain some of the difficulties you have faced. When we were younger, before we met each other and before we had you, we were involved in a cause that was close to our hearts. We worked to help those who were less fortunate, to make the world a better place in our own small way. Our efforts were not always recognized, and there were times when we had to make sacrifices. One of those sacrifices was a promise we made to a friend, a man who has been entrusted with a part of our legacy. That man is Christophe, who has come to deliver this letter to you. He is not just a messenger, but a guardian of the truth we left behind. There is a safe deposit box at the local bank, which contains items and documents that are crucial for you to have. These items are linked to our past and may provide you with the means to secure a future of your own. You will need to visit the bank and present a special key that we have hidden away. Christophe has the key, and he will give it to you once you have read this letter. We understand that you may have questions and fears, and we wish we could be there to answer them. But we trust that you have the strength to face whatever comes next. The key is a symbol of hope and possibility, a reminder that even in the darkest times, there's a path forward. Remember, Jack, you are never alone. Our love surrounds you, and our spirit lives on in you. Use the strength you have shown us to forge a new path, one filled with the love and joy we always dreamed you would have. With all our love and hope, Mom and Dad. Jack's eyes blurred with tears as he finished reading the letter. The words resonated with a deep and profound meaning, offering both comfort and a sense of purpose. The letter spoke of a hidden past, a legacy left behind, and a promise of something more, a chance for Jack to reclaim a part of his parents' world and build a future for himself. He looked up at Christophe, who had been standing quietly, his expression a mixture of patience and understanding. "What do I need to do next?" Jack asked, his voice trembling with a mix of anticipation and uncertainty. Christophe smiled gently. The letter mentioned a key, which is crucial for accessing the safe deposit box. "I have that key with me. But before we go any further, there are a few things you need to understand. Your parents were involved in something significant, and their efforts left a mark that goes beyond their lives. The safe deposit box contains items that could change your life, but it also holds a part of their story, a story that you need to hear. Jack nodded, his mind racing with questions. What's in the box? Why was it so important? Christoph took a deep breath. The box contains documents, personal effects, and possibly financial resources. More importantly, it holds clues to understanding your parents' legacy and the cause they were passionate about. It may help you understand why you have been faced with such challenges and how you can use their legacy to shape your future. With a sense of resolve, Jack took the key from Christoph's outstretched hand. The key was old, its surface worn but polished, a tangible link to his parents' past. Holding it in his palm felt like holding a piece of their love and hope. Pierre and Marie, who had been observing the exchange with a mixture of curiosity and irritation, now approached with a smirk. What's this all about? Is there some kind of treasure hidden away? Pierre's tone was mocking, but there was an edge of unease in his voice. Christoph's gaze remained steady. This is not about treasure. It's about fulfilling a promise and honoring the memory of your parents. If you have any objections, I suggest you speak to the bank directly. Otherwise, I will be taking Jack to retrieve the items. Marie's eyes narrowed. And what happens if he finds something valuable? Will you be sharing it with us? Christoph's expression softened, but his voice remained firm. What Jack finds will be his to decide. Your role in his life has been significant, but this is a matter of his heritage and his future. We should respect that. Jack felt a surge of determination. For so long, he had felt like a mere shadow in the background of his own life. But now, with the letter and the key in his possession, he had a chance to reclaim his identity and uncover the truth about his parents' legacy. As he prepared to leave with Christoph, he glanced back at the house that had been his prison for so long. The dust-covered furniture, the oppressive atmosphere. It all seemed to fade into the background as he took his first steps towards a new beginning. The path ahead was uncertain, but Jack felt a flicker of hope burning in his heart. The journey to the bank was both exhilarating and nerve-wracking. Jack and Christoph walked in silence, the weight of the key in Jack's pocket a constant reminder of the possibilities that lay ahead. The streets of the town were familiar, yet they felt different now, as if each corner held the promise of a new chapter. At the bank, Christoph led Jack to a small, secure room. The walls were lined with safe deposit boxes, each one marked with a number. Christoph approached one of the boxes and inserted the key. With a click, the box swung open, revealing a collection of documents and personal items. Jack's hands shook as he reached for the contents. Inside, he found old letters, photographs, and a leather-bound journal. There were also financial documents, evidence of his parents' financial stability and their charitable contributions. The journal, however, was the most intriguing. Its cover was embossed with intricate patterns, and it seemed to hold the key to understanding the full scope of his parents' work. As Jack began to sift through the items, he realized that each piece was a fragment of a larger story. The letters detailed his parents' involvement in various charitable causes, their struggles and triumphs, and their unwavering commitment to making a difference. The photographs captured moments of joy and sorrow, offering glimpses into the lives they had led. The journal, in particular, was filled with entries that detailed not only their personal experiences but also their dreams and hopes for Jack's future. It spoke of their vision for a world where kindness and compassion could triumph over adversity. Jack sat quietly in the bank's room, absorbing the significance of the revelations. Each document, each photograph was a reminder of his parents' love and their belief in a better world. It was also a call to action, an invitation for Jack to continue their work and to live a life that honored their memory. As he looked up at Christoph, Jack's eyes were filled with a new sense of purpose. Thank you for bringing this to me. I have a lot to think about, but I feel like I finally have a direction. Christoph nodded, his expression one of satisfaction. Your parents' legacy is now in your hands. Use it wisely, and remember that you are never alone. Their love and their dreams for you are with you always. With the items from the safe deposit box securely in his possession, Jack left the bank with a renewed sense of determination. The road ahead was still uncertain, but he now had a guide, a connection to his past, and a compass for his future. As he walked back through the familiar streets, the weight of his burden seemed lighter. The echoes of his parents' love and the promise of their legacy gave him the strength to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Jack knew that the journey was far from over, but he was ready to embrace it with the courage and hope that his parents have always believed in. To be continued. The next part will explore how Jack begins to understand and integrate the revelations from his parents' legacy into his own life and how he starts to take steps toward a new future. The unfolding legacy, the journey back from the bank, felt surreal. Jack's footsteps seemed lighter, as if the burden of his daily life had been momentarily lifted. The leather-bound journal and the collection of documents felt heavy in his hands, not from their physical weight, but from the significance they carried. With every step, Jack's mind raced, piecing together the fragments of his parents' past and wondering how they would shape his future. The house with its sagging walls and dust-covered furniture seemed more oppressive than ever as Jack returned. The vibrant world of his parents' flower shop felt like a distant dream compared to the grim reality he faced daily. Yet, as he walked through the front door, a sense of purpose filled him, counteracting the familiar waves of despair. He went straight to his small room, the sanctuary where he often sought solace. Jack carefully laid out the items he had retrieved, the letters, photographs, and especially the journal. He decided to start with the journal, believing it might hold the answers to the questions burning in his mind. Sitting on the edge of his bed, Jack opened the journal. The pages were filled with neat, flowing handwriting, and as he began to read, he was transported into the world of his parents' hopes and dreams. The journal detailed their early years, their commitment to helping others, and the challenges they face in their charitable endeavors. One entry stood out: March 15, 1995. Today we completed another project, this time building a shelter for families in need. The work was exhausting, but seeing the smiles on the faces of those we helped made it all worthwhile. We often think about the world we want to leave behind for Jack. We want him to know that even in the darkest times, there is always a way to make a difference. Our hope is that he will carry on our work, not just through charity, but by living with compassion and integrity. Jack's heart swelled with emotion. His parents had poured their hearts into their work, driven by a desire to make the world a better place for him and others. The realization that their legacy was more than just financial, it was a call to action, gave him a new perspective on his own life. As he continued reading, he discovered detailed plans for various charitable projects and the networks of people they had worked with. The journal mentioned several key individuals who had played significant roles in their efforts. One name repeated frequently was that of a woman named Eloise Lauren, a prominent figure in their network. The letters and documents provided further insights into his parents' activities. They had been involved in various causes from building homes to providing educational scholarships. The financial documents revealed that they had set aside funds specifically for continuing their work, and there were detailed instructions on how these funds were to be used. Jack felt a deep sense of responsibility. His parents had not only left him a legacy of love, but also a tangible path to continue their work. It was clear that their intentions went beyond mere inheritance. They had hoped he would embrace their mission and carry it forward. He decided to start by reaching out to Eloise Lauren. The journal had provided an address and contact information for her. Jack felt a mix of excitement and trepidation as he prepared to make the call. He needed to understand more about his parents' work and how he could contribute to their vision. With a deep breath, Jack dialed the number. The phone rang a few times before a voice answered, warm and welcoming. "Hello, this is Eloise Lauren." Jack introduced himself, his voice steady but tinged with nervousness. "Hello, Mrs. Lauren. My name is Jack. I'm the son of Luck and Sophie, and I recently discovered their journal and some documents they left behind. I'd like to speak with you about their work and how I might continue it." There was a pause on the other end of the line, followed by a soft, surprised exhale. "Jack, I remember Luck and Sophie well. They were extraordinary people, and their work touched many lives. I'd be more than happy to discuss their legacy with you. When would be a good time for us to meet?" Jack arranged to meet Eloise at a local cafe, a place where he had often seen her working with various community organizations. The meeting was set for the following afternoon. As Jack prepared for the meeting, he felt a mixture of hope and apprehension. The prospect of connecting with someone who had shared his parents' vision was both thrilling and daunting. He wondered what he would learn and how it would influence his plans for the future. The next day, Jack arrived at the cafe early, his hands fidgeting with the strap of his bag. Eloise arrived shortly after, her presence commanding and dignified. She greeted Jack with a warm smile and a firm handshake. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Jack," Eloise said. "Your parents spoke of you often, and it's clear that their love for you was boundless." Jack nodded, feeling a lump in his throat. "Thank you. I've been reading through their journal and documents. It's overwhelming, but I want to understand their work and find a way to continue it." Eloise led him to a quiet corner of the cafe where they could talk without interruption. As they settled in, she began to share stories about Luck and Sophie's contributions. She spoke of their dedication, their innovative ideas, and the impact they had on countless lives. Luck and Sophie were visionaries, Eloise said. They had a rare ability to see the potential in every situation and every person. Their work wasn't just about providing aid, it was about empowering others to make a difference in their own communities. She went on to describe several projects they had started, including a scholarship fund for underprivileged youth, a community center for the elderly, and a program that provided vocational training for young adults. Each initiative had been carefully planned and executed, reflecting the couple's commitment to creating lasting change. Jack listened intently, absorbing every detail. He realized that his parents had left behind a legacy that was much larger than he had initially understood. Their work had touched many lives, and now it was up to him to honor that legacy and carry it forward. As their conversation continued, Eloise provided Jack with additional resources and contacts. She also offered to help him get started with the existing projects, explaining that there were still ongoing initiatives that needed support. "Jack, I believe you have the potential to make a significant impact," Alois said. "Your parents' legacy is a powerful foundation, and with your determination and compassion, you can continue their work in ways that align with your own vision." Jack felt a surge of gratitude and resolve. "Thank you, Mrs. Lauren. I appreciate your support and guidance. I want to do everything I can to ensure that my parents' work lives on." With their meeting drawing to a close, Eloise handed Jack a file containing additional information about the projects and contacts he would need. She also promised to be available for any further questions or support he might require. As Jack left the cafe, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. The weight of his parents' legacy was no longer a burden, but a guiding force. He was determined to honor their memory by continuing their work and making a positive difference in the world. The journey ahead would not be easy, but Jack was ready to embrace the challenge. He had the support of Alois and the resources left by his parents, and he was prepared to use them to create a future filled with hope and compassion. To be continued, the next part will explore how Jack begins to take action on his parents' legacy, facing challenges and discovering opportunities for growth and transformation. The path of action. The morning sun filtered through the cracked window panes of Jack's small room, casting a gentle glow over the collection of documents and personal items from the safe deposit box. Each piece was a testament to his parents' commitment to bettering the world, and now it was up to him to continue their mission. Jack spent the next few days poring over the materials Eloise Lauren had provided. The file was filled with detailed plans for ongoing projects, contact information for various stakeholders, and guidelines for managing the funds his parents had set aside. He felt both exhilarated and overwhelmed by the responsibility. The weight of his parents' expectations was palpable, but so was the potential to make a difference. His first task was to familiarize himself with the existing projects. The Scholarship Fund for Underprivileged Youth was one of the most prominent. It aimed to provide educational opportunities for those who otherwise wouldn't have access. Jack reached out to the local educational institutions and community centers mentioned in the documents. He wanted to understand the current state of the fund, how it was being utilized, and where he could contribute. His inquiries led him to a meeting with a young woman named Inez, who was the coordinator for the scholarship program. Inez was passionate and dedicated, her eyes lighting up as she spoke about the impact of the scholarships on the students' lives. "The scholarships have been life-changing for many of these kids," Inez said. "It's not just about the money. It's about giving them hope and a future they can believe in. Your parents were incredibly generous and involved in every aspect of the program." Jack felt a deep sense of connection to his parents as he listened to Inez. "I want to ensure that the program continues to thrive and that we can reach even more students. How can I help?" Inez smiled warmly. "There are several areas where you can make a significant impact. We need additional funding for expanding the program and for providing mentorship opportunities. You could also help by reaching out to potential donors and organizing fundraising events." Jack agreed to take on these tasks, feeling energized by the opportunity to contribute to something so meaningful. He began working on a plan to raise awareness about the scholarship fund, using social media and local community events to garner support. His parents' legacy was a powerful motivator, and he was determined to honor it. Next on Jack's agenda was the Community Center for the Elderly. The center had been a beacon of support for seniors in the area, offering various programs and services. However, it had recently faced financial difficulties, threatening its ability to continue providing essential services. Jack visited the center and met with its director, Mr. Charles, a kind-hearted man in his late 60s who had been a close friend of his parents. Mr. Charles welcomed Jack with open arms and expressed his gratitude for the continued support. "We've been struggling to keep the center running," Mr. Charles admitted. "Your parents did so much for us, and we're deeply appreciative. We've had to cut back on some of our programs, and it's been tough." Jack took stock of the situation and decided to organize a fundraising campaign to help the center. He used the connections he had made through the scholarship fund and reached out to local businesses and community leaders. The response was encouraging, and soon Jack found himself at the helm of a growing movement to support the community center. As he worked on these initiatives, Jack also found himself reflecting on the personal items from the safe deposit box. The photographs and letters provided glimpses into his parents' personal lives and the deep connections they had with others. One photograph in particular caught his eye. It was a picture of his parents with a group of children, all smiling and holding flowers. On the back of the photo was a handwritten note: "Every smile is a testament to the love we share." The note inspired Jack to start a new project, one that would combine his parents' love for flowers with their commitment to helping others. He decided to create a community garden, where people could come together to grow flowers and vegetables while also participating in educational workshops and support programs. Jack began reaching out to local gardeners and horticulturists, seeking advice and support for his project. He also started a crowdfunding campaign to raise funds for the garden's development. The response was heartening, with many people eager to contribute to a cause that honored Jack's parents' legacy. Trials and triumphs. The community garden was thriving, becoming a vibrant center of activity and a symbol of hope for the community. Flowers and vegetables blossomed in the carefully tended beds, and the workshops were well attended, drawing people from all walks of life. Yet despite the garden's success, Jack found himself facing new and unexpected challenges. One rainy afternoon, as Jack was inspecting the garden, he noticed something troubling. The storm had caused some damage to the garden beds, and a few of the newly planted seeds had been washed away. The sight of the disheveled garden was disheartening. Jack knew that maintaining the garden was crucial not only for its success, but also for the morale of the community. Determined to address the issue, Jack rolled up his sleeves and set to work. He contacted a group of local volunteers, rallying them to help with the cleanup and repairs. The response was swift and enthusiastic, a testament to the garden's impact on the community. Together, they worked to restore the garden to its former glory, repairing the beds and replanting the damaged seeds. While the physical repairs were underway, Jack also faced financial challenges. Despite the success of the crowdfunding campaign and the grant, there were unexpected expenses and ongoing costs that threatened to strain the garden's budget. Jack had to find new sources of funding and manage the resources carefully to ensure the garden's sustainability. To address the financial concerns, Jack organized a series of fundraising events, including a charity auction and a community fair. He reached out to local businesses, artists, and community members, asking for their support. The events were successful, raising significant amounts of money and strengthening the garden's ties with the community. Despite these efforts, Jack found himself stretched thin, juggling multiple responsibilities and facing mounting pressure. He began to feel the weight of his parents' legacy more acutely, as if their expectations were a constant presence in his mind. The joy of the garden's success was tempered by the stress of managing it and ensuring its future. One evening, as Jack was preparing for another community event, he received an unexpected visit from Christoph, the old friend of his parents who had first delivered the letter. Christoph had been following the progress of the garden and had come to offer his support and advice. "Jack, I've been very impressed with what you've achieved," Christoph said, shaking Jack's hand warmly. "Your parents would be incredibly proud of you, but I can see you're struggling with the weight of it all. Sometimes the best way to honor their legacy is to take care of yourself as well." Jack sighed, feeling a mix of relief and frustration. "I appreciate your concern, Christoph. I'm doing my best, but it feels like there's always something new to manage. I want to keep the garden going and make sure it fulfills its potential, but it's overwhelming." Christoph nodded sympathetically. "I understand. Your parents' vision was always about balance, doing good in the world while taking care of oneself. They believe in the power of community, but they also knew the importance of self-care. Perhaps it's time to seek additional help and delegate some responsibilities." Jack took Christoph's advice to heart. He began to evaluate how he could better manage the garden's operations. He reached out to experienced garden managers and local nonprofit organizations for advice. He also started building a team of volunteers who could take on specific roles, from coordinating events to managing finances. One of the key additions to his team was a young woman named Clara, who had a background in nonprofit management. Clara's expertise proved invaluable, and she helped streamline the garden's operations, allowing Jack to focus more on strategic planning and community engagement. With Clara's assistance, Jack was able to develop a more sustainable plan for the garden's future. They established partnerships with local businesses for ongoing sponsorships and organized regular fundraising campaigns to ensure a steady flow of resources. The garden continued to thrive, and its impact on the community grew even stronger. As Jack settled into his new role, he found a renewed sense of balance. He learned to delegate tasks effectively and prioritize his own well-being. The garden became a source of joy and inspiration, rather than a source of stress. One day, as Jack was walking through the garden, he noticed a group of children gathered around a workshop table, planting seeds and learning about gardening. The sight filled him with a profound sense of satisfaction. He realized that the garden was more than just a project. It was a living testament to his parents' vision and a place where people could come together to grow, learn, and thrive. Jack reflected on the journey he had undertaken since discovering the letter and the journal. The challenges had been significant, but they had also led to personal growth and a deeper understanding of his parents' legacy. He had faced obstacles, made tough decisions, and learned valuable lessons along the way. The success of the community garden was a testament to the power of perseverance and the importance of staying true to one's values. Jack had honored his parents' memory by creating something meaningful and lasting, and in doing so, he had also found the sense of purpose and fulfillment. As he looked out over the garden, Jack felt a profound sense of gratitude. He was grateful for the support of the community, the guidance of Eloise and Christoph, and the opportunity to continue his parents' work. The garden had become a symbol of hope and connection, and it was clear that their legacy would continue to make a difference for years to come. To be continued, in the final part, Jack will confront one last major challenge that tests everything he has learned and achieved. He will need to summon all his strength and resolve to ensure that his parents' legacy endures and that the community garden continues to flourish. The legacy lives on. The community garden continued to blossom both literally and figuratively. Jack's efforts, supported by the dedicated team and enthusiastic volunteers, had transformed the once dilapidated space into a thriving center of growth and learning. Yet, just when things seemed to be falling into place, Jack faced an unexpected challenge that tested his resolve and the very future of the garden. It began with a letter. The envelope was plain, but the seal bore the insignia of a prominent real estate developer. Jack's heart sank as he read the letter's contents. The developer, Mr. Lucas Armitage, was proposing to buy the land on which the community garden stood to build a new commercial complex. The letter outlined a substantial offer, far more than the garden's current value, and provided a deadline for Jack's response. The news hit Jack like a punch to the gut. The garden was more than just a project. It was a symbol of his parents' legacy and a vital resource for the community. The thought of losing it was unbearable. He knew he had to act quickly, but he was unsure of how to navigate this unexpected obstacle. Jack convened an emergency meeting with his team, including Clara, Eloise, and a few key volunteers. The atmosphere in the room was tense as they discussed their options. "We have to fight this," Clara said firmly. "The garden is too important to let it go. But we need a plan. How can we show Mr. Armitage that the community values this space?" Eloise nodded in agreement. "We need to mobilize the community and rally support. If we can demonstrate the garden's impact and its importance to the people, we might be able to negotiate or even prevent the sale." Jack and his team sprang into action. They organized a series of community meetings to inform residents about the situation and gather support. Flyers, social media campaigns, and local news outlets were used to spread the word. The response was overwhelming. The community came together in a show of solidarity, attending meetings, signing petitions, and sharing their personal stories about how the garden had positively impacted their lives. The outpouring of support was heartening. Jack was moved by the stories of individuals who had found solace, friendship, and purpose through the garden. There were testimonials from children who had learned about nature and responsibility, seniors who had enjoyed the companionship and activities, and families who had benefited from the fresh produce. Amidst this whirlwind of activity, Jack decided to meet with Mr. Armitage to discuss the situation personally. He hoped to persuade him to reconsider the offer and find an alternative solution. The meeting was set for a crisp autumn morning. Mr. Armitage, a tall man in his 50s with a commanding presence, greeted Jack with a polite but distant demeanor. They sat across from each other in a sleek, modern conference room. "Mr. Armitage," Jack began, "I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me. I understand your interest in the property, but I'd like to explain why the community garden is so much more than just land." He proceeded to share the stories and the community's response, presenting the petitions, testimonials, and evidence of the garden's impact. He spoke about his parents' vision and the role the garden played in bringing people together and providing valuable resources. Mr. Armitage listened attentively, his expression unreadable. When Jack finished, there was a moment of silence before Mr. Armitage spoke. "I appreciate your passion, Jack," he said. "The community's response is certainly impressive. However, the decision to develop this land is part of a larger plan, and we have a lot invested in it. I need to think about this carefully." Jack felt a mix of relief and anxiety. He had made his case, but the outcome was still uncertain. He thanked Mr. Armitage and left the meeting, feeling a weight lift off his shoulders, but also a sense of lingering doubt. The days that followed were tense. Jack and his team continued their efforts, keeping the community engaged and hopeful. They organized a large rally in the garden, where community members spoke about its significance and shared their personal experiences. The event was a powerful display of unity and love for the garden. Then, one morning, Jack received another letter from Mr. Armitage. With a heavy heart, he opened it, only to find that it contained a surprising development. Mr. Armitage had reconsidered the proposal. He was offering to work with Jack and the community to find a solution that would allow the garden to remain while still accommodating some of the development plans. The letter detailed a compromise. A smaller portion of the land could be developed, while the majority would be preserved as a community space. Mr. Armitage also proposed creating a joint venture that would include a portion of the new development's profits going towards supporting the garden and other community projects. Jack was overwhelmed with relief and gratitude. He called an emergency meeting with his team to share the news. The room erupted in cheers and applause as Jack read the letter aloud. The compromise was a victory for the community and a testament to their collective efforts. The next steps involved negotiating the final details of the agreement and ensuring that the garden would continue to flourish alongside the new development. Jack worked closely with Mr. Armitage and local officials to finalize the plans, making sure that the community's needs and values were respected. As the development project began, the garden continued to thrive. The new development brought additional resources and opportunities for the community, while the garden remained a vibrant and essential part of the neighborhood. Jack's parents' legacy lived on through the garden and the positive impact it had on the community. Jack took a moment to reflect on the journey he had undertaken. From the initial shock of discovering the letter to the triumph of preserving the garden, he had grown in ways he never imagined. He had faced challenges, learned to lead, and witnessed the power of community and perseverance. One evening, as he walked through the garden, he paused to take in the beauty of the space. The flowers were in full bloom, and the sound of laughter and conversation filled the air. The garden was a testament to his parents' vision and a symbol of hope and unity. Jack felt a deep sense of fulfillment and pride. He had honored his parents' memory and continued their mission in a way that was both meaningful and impactful. The journey had been filled with trials and triumphs, but it had also been a journey of discovery and growth. As he looked out over the garden, Jack knew that their legacy would continue to make a difference for years to come. The garden was not just a place of beauty and learning, it was a living testament to the power of love, community, and resilience. With a final glance at the garden, Jack turned and walked away, his heart full of gratitude and hope. The future was bright, and he was ready to embrace whatever came next, knowing that he had honored his parents' legacy and created something truly special. Epilogue. The legacy lives on years past, and the community garden continued to flourish, evolving and growing with the needs of the community. Jack remained deeply involved, ensuring that the garden remained a vibrant and integral part of the neighborhood. His parents' legacy had not only been preserved, but had also inspired new generations to give back and make a difference. The garden became a symbol of what could be achieved when people came together with a shared vision and a commitment to positive change. It served as a reminder that even in the face of adversity, there was always a way to create something beautiful and lasting. Jack's journey was a testament to the power of perseverance, compassion, and the enduring impact of a loving legacy. His parents' vision had become a reality, and their memory lived on in every bloom, every smile, and every act of kindness that the garden inspired. The community garden remained a beacon of hope, a place where people came together to grow, learn, and support one another. It was a living legacy, a testament to the love and dedication of Luck and Sophie, and a reminder that even in the darkest times, there was always a way to create light and beauty. And so the legacy of Luck and Sophie continued to flourish, a testament to the power of love, community, and the enduring impact of a life well lived.